Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Daily Racing Form YouTube. I'm Gino Buccola alongside Mike Beer. Make sure to subscribe below so that way you'll be alerted every time we do previews like this. And leave a comment. Who do you like in the Heavenly Prize Invitational at Aqueduct on Saturday? Let's head on out and take a look at the field for this one. It's going to go as race number 3 on Saturday, February the 22nd. Mike, small field in here and a heavy favorite with the number 3, Weigh the Risks, 6-5 on the morning line. Feels kind of a tier above the rest in here. Maybe not necessarily one you're going to line up and get rich at the windows, but the rest of the field just does look like they are kind of a cut below. I think to the outside, total wild card with the horse trying the dirt.
Yeah, at least you have Aussie Girl in here. It does add a little bit of intrigue, I guess. There's just, I guess, more questions than answers in this field at this point. Gino, a field of 7. There's no real stakes horses in here as of now. I guess save Aussie Girl, who is a stakes winner on the grass. Just a bunch of horses who have plenty to prove here. But as far as the favorite goes, just a recent switch back to turf for Chad Brown, and she's been really good in 2 recent wins.
Let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector. What makes her really difficult to kind of chuck out to is she has a pretty good running style. I mean, they have her a little farther back on the pace projector here because there could be a couple of these horses trying to go at it early and maybe a few stretching out, but she can kind of put herself into the race anytime. She's very handy, Mike, and that's kind of what makes her tough to beat. She's not like some stone cold closer who you could maybe get a major pace advantage over. She just seems like a really good fit in this group, and they could kind of press the button with her multiple times if they need to.
Couldn't agree more. She's just a very, very handy horse, and she's going to be right up close in here if this pace slows down a little bit. And I think before we move on here, we should just point out 3 of these horses, the 2, the 5, and the 6. They're all New York breds. There's a New York bred stakes race on Sunday. All 3 of them are also entered there.
Yeah.
So we may get scratches out of this race. According to Dave Grenig's race advance on DRF.com, the 2 catchphrase is definitely scratching out of the Heavenly Prize on Saturday. She's on the lead on a fast pace here, but she's not running, Gino. So that changes the total complexion of this race.
Absolutely. And maybe we'll have a horse like the one down on the inside, Kids Last Laugh, try to hold some position. Patricia Ann, very quick. We've seen in her victories, she's been able to get right to the front end. Even a horse like Bonadou is cutting back or, has gone a little bit longer, not necessarily like some of the others sprinting, but you could see any of these kind of showing a little bit of speed in here. It'll be curious now with that major pace coming out of it, what it will look like. Let's meet this field, and we'll start with Kids Last Laugh from the inside, Mike, coming out of a common race with Patricia Ann. And we're going to see these 2 right now. They're the 1 and the 3 in this race. They were kind of hooking up most of the way around here. Patricia Ann ends up battling on, and she wins this race. It was her second start back off of a long layoff. Kids Last Laugh was coming off of a 9-length victory here. I mean, we saw them come down to the wire. What'd you take out of this race?
Yeah, I mean, the good news for Kids Last Laugh is she's gotten good again for Dutrow. I mean, this is a horse. When Dutrow gets horses good, you usually take it as a good sign, and he's gotten her good back-to-back 88 by her speed figure. So I'm not surprised that he just wants to maybe step her up a little bit and see how she can handle a rise in class into the stakes race. Did she have an excuse in that most recent start? In my opinion, no. She was second best in that race. She was right up there with Patricia Ann from basically start to finish, lost a little ground at the top of the stretch, then tried to come back again and couldn't quite do it. She ran fine in there. Probably not betting her back off of that performance.
Completely agree. She had a little momentum mid-stretch, looked like she was going to go by. I don't know how far she wants to go. I think this might be a little bit farther, too, than where she's at her absolute best. So we mentioned catchphrase. I guess we can just quickly say that this horse is going to scratch and be running in a race on Sunday. So we'll remove a long shot and a major pace player from here, and we can move to the 3, Weigh the Risks, who's coming off of back-to-back victories. Last time out was 4th, was down on the inside, just behind the leaders, was within 2, got an opening, and just pushed through. And as we were discussing a moment ago, it just kind of shows how handy she is, where they could see that opening and say, okay, let's go right now. Not the type of horse that needs a while to kind of get built up. She's just a solid favorite in here.
Yeah, she really is. I mean, even though there are no stakes credentials, on her card, and so she's technically moving up in class in this race. I don't think this field is any tougher than the one that she just beat last time. She was really good when they switched her back to dirt for the first time in November. She was really good that day, winning off for fun with a big figure. I would argue that she might have been even better last time because that was a tougher field. And it's not like she got some kind of soft trip in that race. I mean, she moved early. They took a big run at her early in there, and she had to race around the turn. She put away a pretty nice horse. I thought that runner-up is a Pletcher horse, so I think is pretty good and might have a future. And Weigh the Risk just turned her away and won that race convincingly.
Number 4, Patricia Ann comes off of back-to-back victories. She has won at a mile. Well, last time out, she kind of pushed through the inside and she won a battle with Kids Last Laugh. We just saw the end of that race. I mean, if you toss the May 4th race where she was basically eased when she lost the rider, her debut on a muddy track wasn't very good. I mean, everything else makes sense. She doesn't really throw in poor performances, and she's, kind of what you're going to get with her, Mike. She'll make her third start off the 6.5 month layoff. She'll probably be out there right towards the front end, and she'll give a good account of herself. Let's see if she can, really get back to the win at a mile like she's done earlier in her career.
Yeah, maybe the scratch helps her a little bit. She'll be more forward, and they maybe won't be going as fast. So we'll see how it all works out. She's very lightly raced. Obviously, he's come back from that layoff end of last year, first start this year. Has come back with 2 really good performances. I liked her win last time. It didn't blow me away, but she did everything she had to do in there and got the job done. This is obviously going to be tougher for her, but she could move forward again and make herself really tough in here.
Bernie Takes Charge is a New York bred. It's kind of become a need the lead speed horse though recently.
Yeah.
She also probably going to need to get a little bit faster on speed figures here, Mike. So I'm not sure if she gets the lead, and she probably needs it.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I've always thought she's a little bit underrated as a New York bred. She's a pretty good horse. This is not an easy spot for her. Dominic Scatino, her trainer, he told Grunning in that race advance that he's not really sure where he wants to run her. It could be Sunday in the Broadway. Maybe he's gonna keep his options open here and maybe still run her here. I don't like her that much if this is the spot that he picks out.
We'll say her last effort, she did have to turn away a couple challenges late. So, like you're pointing out, she is a tough horse and she is very honest. We move to Bonadu, who is coming off of a lackluster performance. If you want to be forgiving, maybe you can toss 2, but we're not even really the last 2. We're not even really talking about that long of a layoff for this one. She actually does have the lowest buyer speed figure top in the field. Mike, what do you think about her?
Yeah, she just doesn't have a fast race, so it's hard to want to really endorse her in a race like this one as she moves out of New York bred company. If you're looking for maybe some mitigation for that most recent start, not only was she a big price in there, but that was just a day at Aqueduct where the rail was gold, and she was not on the rail. She was trying to contest the pace from the outside, and it probably worked against her. She would still need a lifetime best to win.
Rounding out the field with the number 7 Aussie girl, who has only been on turf and synthetic. She's run well on both of those surfaces. This is going to be her first start on the dirt. To me, she just feels like the wild card in the race, Mike, because from a class standpoint, I could see her stacking up with Weigh the Risks if she takes to the dirt. But I will say this, and I picked her on top. She really is not bred. She's very turfy bred, right? There's just not a lot of dirt breeding in there. It's just from a class standpoint, if you're kind of going process of elimination on the rest of this field, if she's 4-1-ish or above, she would be the only horse I'd be willing to play because I think they could maybe show up with a good effort on that surface and beat Weigh the Risks.
Yeah, if she can handle the dirt, she can be really competitive in here, and that's a real question. She's such a wild card. I do think she's talented. I think you also have to sort of reckon with the fact that he had her entered on dirt last weekend at Laurel. He was going to run her in the Barbara Fritchie on dirt, scratched her because she drew the rail, and he didn't want horses kicking dirt in her face, Will Walden. So he said, you know what, we're going to take her to Turfway and run her on synthetic. And then he didn't do that either. And now he's changed plans again, and he's going to run her here to try dirt. At least he got a better post position this time. Not my kind of horse, Gino, but listen, there are things to recommend about her, I guess.
Yeah, and I think as we get to selections, for me, it was more of like the process of elimination as I was getting to. I think the 3-Weigh the Risk is hands down the horse to beat. And after that, I just couldn't find anyone else fun to bet. So I'm going to go 7, 3, 4, 1. And you kind of really didn't find anyone fun to wager on in this race either.
Yeah, I just don't have anything really clever to say. After I went through the whole field, it just looked to me like Weigh the Risks is supposed to be really tough in here, and I'm not going to try to beat her.
Shout out to producer Lucia for helping us out behind the scenes. And I hope all of you have a great, great Saturday over at Aqueduct. Best of luck.